Hello, everybody. All right, so today is Thursday, January the 9th, 20, 2025. So, of course, we're going to give people a chance to come in. Before we get started, of course, we'll have another night of catching up on these primarily. I'll talk about in a moment. What will be on tap for tonight. Let me see. So today, when I was watching some of the cartoons I watch, of course, I actually got a chance to see the first Disney cartoon that actually was originally colored, not one of the black and white ones that was like uh, computerized color, years after the fact. I'm talking about like this was initially colored when it was released back in 1932, Flowers and Trees, which of course won an Academy Award for Walt Disney at the time. So, just trying to find where the anyways, I'm just gonna see if I can try to reach out to some people to see if we can get them to drop in to say hi, if at all possible. As I said, we're just waiting on some people. Also, just before I went on the show earlier, of course, so I decided to subscribe to a female professional wrestler by the name of Hikaru Shida. Quite a nice lady. I subscribed to her YouTube channel. Went by there to say hi and all that. Anyways, see what time is it now? 2:44. So we're coming up on 3 minutes here. So I guess it's a good time to talk about what's on tap for tonight. So, of course, tonight we'll be focusing in on going over the Indie Comic Showcase from Bleeding Full from Chris Braley. We'll be going over that article. We'll also be going over, we'll of course go over like last night's Dynamite, as well as look ahead to tonight's Impact and Ring of Honor shows. Get caught up on all the latest WWE news and all that. So with that being said, why don't we go ahead and we're coming up on 4 minutes now, so I might as well just pull up the material here, and then we will go ahead and get started. Alrighty then. So, Indie Comic Showcase number 292, The Circle of Mott, and Dust Devil, Curse of the Remolino. Article by Chris Braley, published yesterday. So let's get into this. The first Indie Comic Showcase of 2025. So let's get into this. Welcome back to another installment of Indie Comic Showcase, the weekly blog where we signal boost a creator-owned independent. I think it should say either creator-owned independent comic or a creator-owned independent comic, not both. Boost creator-owned. I think in this case, creator-owned independent comics, since there's more than one that he's profiling here, that are currently crowdfunding their projects, crowdsourcing their funding in some way, or just completely self-publishing on their own. Every little bit of support for these creators matters, from a single dollar pledge to a $25 bundle, and of course the higher tiers are usually fun too. Even if you can't back a campaign or buy a book, you can share or tweet about these projects to your friends and followers. On Indie Comic Show, and we also will, of course, we go over the articles here, so we also do our own our own promoting for these projects as well here on the Mikestand. So on Indie Comic Showcase, we interview the creators, show off some art, and tell you how you can check out the product for yourself. Below, we have another outstanding crowdfunding campaign this week for you to learn about, enjoy, and hopefully support by backing it. Let's jump in. The Circle of Mott by Pete Garcia. Now I'm pronouncing it as Mott. I don't know if it's pronounced. It's MA apostrophe AT. So I don't know if it's pronounced Mott. If it's supposed to be pronounced Mott or Mayot. So I'm going with Mott. That's usually the case. But if if I'm incorrect and you know what the correct pronunciation is, feel free to, of course, correct me in the chat there, and I will make that correction. So, actually, let me go back up here to show why we're. It's been a few weeks since he's done these, so of course it's been a few weeks since I had a chance to do this. So I'm a little rusty here. So here is the link for this, and it's a Kickstarter campaign, so bear that in mind. And if you guys should want to go check that out, there it is. Feel free to do so. All right, and now with that, let's go ahead and get into the article here. All right, so The Circle of Mott by Pete Garcia. Chris Braley, welcome to Indie Comic Showcase, Pete. What's your pitch for The Circle of Mott? Pete Garcia, New York City, 1955, where the vigilante called Iron Demon has been attacking the Sabatini crime family in pursuit of its leader, Boss Vito Sabatini. Vito has been forced to hide for weeks and watch as his soldiers are battered and beaten by the man who had publicly sworn to bring cold hard vengeance to Vito himself. During this time, a weird and strange creature observes the demon's showdown with the Sabatini family, and Vito the Cruel himself. What does the creature want? Is he friend or foe? A 64-page action-adventure story, and that also delves into the supernatural and horror. Oh, kind of a mix of different bags here in this story. Pretty interesting. Chris, what inspired you to launch your own crowdfunded comic? Pete, I've been watching the indie comic scene grow for some time and wanted to jump in. I also wanted to do a book combining different genres like action and horror, set in a period piece. In today's world, you can do it yourself and keep your vision pure, rather than, as we've talked about several times, of having to try to rely on on corporal comics. People sometimes call them. Chris, who is it aimed at? Pete, Fans of classic superhero comics, action, and horror would dig this book. I think the book would appeal to fans of historic pulp type books. The book is pretty PG rated, but there are a lot of people getting punched in the head. Um, this will be an ongoing series, and the next two books are already in development. Dude's working hard to get those books out, baby. Hmm. Yeah, you can see the kind of the golden age feel right there in terms of like the the way what they're wearing, what's all being presented there. Chris, tell us about your style and creative process and how you develop them. Pete, I write good versus evil stories with flawed characters, and I center my art strictly around storytelling. If I have room to get fancy, I do, but story comes first. The book started as a 10-page story, which is included in the Kickstarter, but when I got near to the end, I saw opportunity to tell a bigger tale. It just grew and grew. I just got out of the way and let it run. Um, the story and line art was all handled by me. The first 10 pages were colored by Kid Zoutsy, and the remainder is being colored by Jay Brown. Jay Brown. Eric Weathers is handling the lettering. We're wrapping up the lettering now, so I can deliver the book in a reasonable amount of time. What are you learning about self-publishing through this process? Pete, marketing and spreading and spreading word out about the book is a job in itself. Promoting in general can be can be a any kind of promotion can be a workload. Granted, for most people, they find it a worthy workload, but it can still be a workload. Getting eyes on the project is pretty challenging. Chris, tell me something unique about your Kickstarter crowdfunding campaign interested backers should look for. Pete, I offered 3 different covers so potential supporters can pick one or get all 3. I'm also offering a shirt featuring the cover as an add-on. So, wow, can you go around imagine wearing a shirt that's the cover of a comic? That sounds pretty interesting. Chris, anything else you would like to share with our readers before we sign off? Sure. Then Pete responds, sure, if you support the Circle of Mott, I think you will be entertained and pleasantly surprised. And then of course, Chris says, good luck, Pete. So now, of course, now again, the thing is that, of course, tonight he's only got, and I know, towards the end, before he stopped for the year, he was only doing 2 books instead of the usual 3. So I guess we'll see how things go there and see whether or not I may want to try to find another story. Maybe I will, maybe I won't. But we'll wait and see here. So now, of course, we're gonna get to the next story here. Dust Devil, Curse of the Remolino by Orenthal Twain. Orenthal Twain. That's a very interesting name right there. Let me go grab the link there. Let's see where this project is. And this one's a Fun My Comic project. This one's one you can find on Fun My Comic, so I'll go ahead. Let me just go ahead and Dust Devil, Curse of the Remolino. So here's a link to that if you guys want to go check that out. Check that project out. All right. So, anyways, let's get into this portion of the article here. Dust Devil, Curse of the Remolino by Orenthal Twain. So, Chris, welcome to Indie Comic Showcase, Orenthal. Tell me about Dust Devil, Curse of the Remolino. Orenthal Twain. The NSFW, or Not Safe for Work, supernatural comedy, Western comic book of biblical proportions. The full color story is a mashup of genres. It includes elements of Western, sci-fi, action, adventure, and comedy. So he's really putting a lot of into it, isn't he? If you like Mad magazine, EC Comics, Heavy Metal magazine, Preacher, Grant Morrison, Blazing Saddles, Alejandro Jodorowsky, Deliverance, Primus, Ministry, the Butthole Surfers. I remember that one song, Mikey got with Sharon. Sharon got your review. Anyways, Roki Erickson, Pantera, Ween, the Evil Dead, Johnny Cash, Spaghetti Westerns, and this comic book is for you. So quite a eclectic collection there, you would say. Quite an eclectic collection there. It's like a Louis L'Amour novella, except much more perverse, depraved, and with supernatural and sci-fi elements. So yeah, it's really not at all like those books laugh out loud. This one's for adult audiences who like dark comedy, absurdity, and the kind of creativity that only comics can deliver. So he's, even before Chris asked him who's it aimed at, even though pretty much by his description, even before he outright said it, you could tell this was going to be probably for a mature audience's rating. Chris, where did the idea for this comic come from, and what inspired you to self-publish? Orenthal, living in and experiencing West Texas and inserting a lifetime of influences, I worked mostly digital on a Wacom tablet using Clip Studio and Photoshop. My cover was done using traditional analog media. My work is research heavy to get an accurate depiction of locations, landscapes, and clothing, etc. I went through various print versions in order to get the colors, paper quality, margins, design, bleeds just right. The final product is very nice. It is a very nice book to hold and look at. Um, that's important to me. Now, the term dust devil, just for those of you who don't know, a dust devil is usually what they describe like a sand tornado, basically. That's what a dust devil is, usually in the desert. So, Chris, can you tell me about? Can you tell me anything about the team that helped you bring this project to life? Orenthal, my good friend and colleague, came up with the basic skeleton of the story many years ago. A kind of stream of consciousness, basic story treatment. Then I fleshed it out from there. That person has decided to remain anonymous for the time being. Now, before I continue on with the article, let me just again a friendly reminder to everybody: if you haven't already, you guys can help out by liking and sharing the stream. See if we can get some more friendly people in here to engage. That'd be appreciated. Also, if anything here would grabs your attention, feel free to comment and or ask questions. I'll try to answer the questions to the best of my ability. So, we continue on here. Let me see if there are any comments. We move on to or read on here. No, I guess not. All right, so let's continue on here with the article then. So Christian asked, "What's your production workflow been like?" Orenthal, it was kind of mess. I think he meant to say kind of a mess. Laugh out loud. I spent way too much time trying to get the panel lines to look just right. Each line of the panels are bespoke. Yeah, I mean that's the thing when you're putting so much effort into something that you sometimes want to make sure you get everything just absolutely, even though it's nothing's ever going to be perfect, right? Nothing in this world anyway will never be perfect. But we still, it's still in us as human beings to still strive for that perfection, right? Anyways, as we continue on here, Chris, what have you been learning when self-publishing through the process? Orenthal, it's a ton of work, but very rewarding in the end. If perhaps not rewarding in a financial sense. This took years to complete. Collaborating with people be very fun and or a nightmare. Simon Bisley and Stefano Cardoselli were great to work with, and they delivered A+ covers. There's a little gritty-esque art there. Chris, are there more stories you hope to tell? Orenthal, yes. Many more stories to tell in different genres, and perhaps a sequel to Dust Devil. In fact, I have various projects at different stages of development. They will they will all be housed under my company, Twain Enterprises LLC. Southwest Texas, circa 1895, the end of the 19th century, as it were. Any special features you want to highlight on this campaign? Orenthal variant covers by Simon Bisley, and Stefano Cardacelli. Glow-in-the-dark amulets that also appear in the comic book, as well as sterling silver edition of only 6. This amulet will help readers decipher the buzzard speak that is sprinkled throughout the story. Chris, anything else you would like to share with our readers before we sign off? Let's see. Orenthal, please support Dust Devil, Curse of the Remolino, as well as the many indie comics out there. Much of the mainstream comics have become so watered down, safe, and boring. It's sad to see. And then Chris said, thanks again, Orenthal. Good luck. That's it for this installment. If you're a creator ramping up your own campaign or have a comic available for purchase online and you want to be featured in our weekly column, click here. And follow Indie Comics Showcase on Twitter at Indie Comics. Reach out to them for more eyes on your crowdfunding comic project. Till next time, support Indie Comics. All right, so there we go with that one. As I said, we were going to just do that one, depending upon, we're coming up on and considering that I do have a little bit more to go over on the wrestling stuff, I think I will go ahead and move on to the wrestling wrap-up right away. As in WWE news, of course, there's been some talk that, they did have some, they probably, in terms of, I guess, money-wise, or ratings-wise, had one of the best nights for both Raw and for Raw on Netflix, as well as for NXT and the CW. So with all that kind of went down, as of course, they have WWE has WWE Saturday Night's Main Event coming up at the end of the month on the 25th, I believe, and then followed by is it 25th or let's see, I'm trying to think here. Days the 9th, 10th. Yeah, so 2 weeks on this Saturday, and then the following week, of course, is Royal Rumble weekend. So, as far as I know. So, now aside from, of course, WWE, that's all I have in terms of the WWE news. In terms of AEW news, of course, we're going to talk a little bit about what happened on last night's Dynamite, as well as some other news coming out. It would appear, now, granted, there's been rumors about this for a while, but it would appear, anyways, that Malachi Black may be if his contract's not up, then his contract is coming. At least that's what the rumors are. That's what the rumors supposedly are. That his contract may be coming up. There was some talk there were some hints that dropping that he may be done with AEW. Now, again, unless the talent themselves confirms this, you should take everything with a grain of salt. But according to some news outlets, Malachi Black may be done with AEW, but I guess we'll wait and see what happens. I know lately they've been pushing Brody King a lot. Brody King, of course, for the second year in a row, was heavily involved in the Continental Classic, and then we'll get to Buddy Matthews in a moment here as well. And also, of course, Julia Hart has been kind of acting on her own as well, with kind of the whole mystique of the House of Black bit. So last night's Dynamite, which came from the F&M Bank Arena in Clarksville, Tennessee, with, of course, Excalibur, Ian Riccaboni, Matt Menard, and MVP doing the commentary duties during the night. In the opening match saw Will Ospreay defeat Buddy Matthews, in which I don't know if it was before or after the match. From what I understand, Will Ospreay had kind of told Buddy Matthews that it was time for him to start to step out of Malachi Black's shadow. That might be, some people have suggested that might be another clue that maybe Malachi Black is leaving AEW. But again, that's only speculation at this point. We don't know for absolute certain. Bobby Lashley defeats Mark Briscoe by referee's decision. And I believe during the show last night, the Hurt Syndicate of Lashley and Benjamin put, I guess, Private Party on notice that they're coming for the AEW World Tag Titles. In the number one contendership Casino Gauntlet match to see who becomes the next number one contender to challenge Jon Moxley for the AEW World Champion, Powerhouse Hobbs defeated Adam Cole, Adam Page, Daniel Garcia, Jay White, Jeff Jarrett, Kyle O'Reilly, Lance Archer, Ricochet, Roderick Strong, and Wheeler Yuta in the match. And then in a three-way match to determine the number one spot for the women's Casino Gauntlet, Chris Statlander defeated Toni Storm and Willow Nightingale. So now some other AW/WWE news that's also been another kind of rumor that's out there. There seems to be there has been some talk of the possibility that the Bella twins, Brie and Nikki Bella, might decide to return to the WWE. Now, mind you, it's only rumor. And now Nikki was at Raw the other night on Monday, so she was there. Now, Brie obviously could not be there or be on camera there due to the fact that she's married to Bryan Danielson, and even though he is retired now, he's still, I think, technically under contract with AEW, which would be somewhat problematic if Brie did end up showing up on Raw while her husband was still, a part of AEW. So, let's see now. So, so with that, why don't we go ahead and look ahead to tonight's Ring of Honor and Impact. As on tonight's Ring of Honor, being hosted by, of course, Ian Riccaboni and Caprice Coleman, and basically coming from the Bojangles Coliseum in Charlotte, North Carolina. Billy Starks will be taking on Brittany Jade. Rachel Ellering will be taking on Queen Aminata. Trish Adora will be taking on Harley Cameron. Serpentico will be taking on Blake Christian. In a proving ground match to get an attempt to get a shot at the Ring of Honor Women's World Television title, Jasmine Howe will take on champion Red Velvet. If Howe should happen to win or come to a draw, she'll earn a shot at the Ring of Honor Women's World title. Dave and Zane Dawson, the Dawsons, take on the M&M collection of Mansoor and Maze Matter. And I guess this is the flashback match, I guess, or the historical match in a match that was for the Women of Honor title. Ring of Sumie Sakai took on Hazuki. I believe this was from a match from years ago. Griff Garrison will be taking on Beefcake Boulder. And then the Gates of Agony of Bishop Khan and Toa Leona will be taking on Shane Taylor Promotions duo of Lee Moriarty and Shane Taylor. So that's all that's going down on tonight's Ring of Honor. And now moving ahead to going on, talk a little bit about tonight's Impact, TNA Impact, as they're about a week away, I believe, from. Actually, let's see. Actually, I think it's even a little bit more than that. Let's see. I know they have Genesis coming up, which actually might be. In fact, I think it's today's what the. Today is the 8th, or no, today's the 9th. So I think it's coming up actually a week from this Sunday, where TNA will be having their Genesis pay-per-view. As they continue to prep, to obviously prep for that show. Tonight's Impact coming from Center Stage in Atlanta, Georgia, with commentary by Tom Hannafin and Matthew Raywalt. Savannah Evans is set to take on Lei Ying Lee. In a tag match, the Nemeth brothers, Nick and Ryan Nemeth. Nick, of course, the current TNA World Heavyweight Champion, who's also preparing for his upcoming title defense against Joe Hendry, will be taking on Joe Hendry and Rhino in a tag match. In another tag match, the Good Hands of John Schuyler and Jason Hodge, Schuyler, who just recently re-signed with TNA, will be taking on Trey Miguel and Zachary Wentz for Rascals. It was also announced this past week that the Rascals will actually be challenging the Hardy Boys for the TNA World Tag Team Championships at Genesis. In a gauntlet match, Mike Santana looks to go through the Northern Armory of Josh Alexander, Judas Karras, and Travis Williams. The main event in a 6-person tag match, the Systems, Eddie Edwards, Brian Myers, and JDC answer the challenge of the TNA veterans of Jonathan Gresham, Steve Macklin, and Eric Young. So that is pretty much what's going down on Impact tonight. So now I think we're going to move ahead to get ready. We're going to start to wrap things up a bit here. We're going to, as today is Thursday, January 9th, 2025. Let's take a look back at this day in each history. So let me just 1955 and then from 2015. All right. So first off, I'd like to wish a happy 70th birthday to voice actor J.K. Simmons. Happy 70th birthday to J.K. Simmons, who, of course, an actor and voice actor. In the realm of voice acting, he's of course known for portraying J. Jonah Jameson both in live action and animation. As of course he portrayed J. Jonah Jameson in the Sam Raimi Spider-Man films, and also provided the voice of J. Jonah Jameson in a number of Marvel series, including the Avengers Earth's Mightiest Heroes episode, Long Came a Spider, Ultimate Spider-Man, Avengers Assemble, Hulk and the Agents of Smash, Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse. Also, and I guess as J. Jonah in the Simpsons episode Mona Lisa. Some of the other he's also been the Yellow M&M from the M&M commercials. He provided the voice of General Wade Eiling in Justice League Unlimited. He was Martin Smarty in Kim Possible, Tenzin in The Legend of Korra, Omni-Man in Invincible, Kai in Kung Fu Panda 3. He's done quite a few things here, so we were just trying to touch upon just the main ones. But happy 70th birthday to J.K. Simmons. There we go with that. Now getting ready to move on to the next thing here. So we're going to move ahead to the year 2000, as on this date in the year 2000, ECW held its Guilty as Charged pay-per-view from the Boatwell Memorial Auditorium in Birmingham, Alabama. The main event of the show saw Mike Awesome, the late great Mike Awesome, with Judge Jeff Jones in his corner, defeat Spike Dudley to retain the ECW World Heavyweight Championship. Also saw the Impact players of Justin Credible and Lance Storm with Don Marie and Jason in their corner defeat Raven and Tommy Dreamer with Francine in their corner to win the ECW World Tag Team titles. Rob Van Dam retained the ECW World Television Championship over Sabu, and some of the other undercard matches saw the team of Super Crazy and Yoshihiro Tajiri defeat Little Guido and Jerry Lynn in a 6-person tag match. Danny Doring, Roadkill, and Simon Diamond defeated Jazz, Nova, Kid Cash, and Chris so I guess in a 3-on-4 match. The show opened up with C.W. Anderson defeating Mikey Whipwreck. So 25 years ago today, from the Boatwell Memorial Auditorium in Birmingham, Alabama, ECW held its Guilty as Charged pay-per-view. Now moving on to the next piece in each history. Back 10 years ago today, in 2015, on this date in 2015, Production IG's Psycho-Pass the Movie premiered in Japanese theaters on this date 10 years ago today. So 10 years ago today, Production IG's Psycho-Pass the Movie, which was a Japanese anime science fiction crime film that was produced by Production IG. It did receive positive critical responses due to the building up of the lore and handling of the new setting. So, and the voice actors were all praised for their work. So, 10 years ago today, Production IG's Psycho-Pass the Movie premiered in Japanese theaters. And finally on this date, 6 years ago today, back in 2019, here, the 295th issue of Archie Double Digest, Jumbo Comics, went on sale on newsstands on this date back in 2019, 6 years ago today. Sold for $6.99 and was 192 pages. So talk about a jumbo comic there. So with that being said, I hope everybody enjoyed the show. Of course, we'll be back here with more Neat News tomorrow. And then this Sunday, of course, I will be joined by the Metal from Vomitorium to basically go over. We'll be going over comics that went on sale, during the historical comic retrospect. We'll go over comics that went on sale in April of 1940. we'll be focusing in on Holyoke, introducing you guys to Holyoke's version of Cyclone, among others. Of course, we'll also be reading Strongman, and I think there was one other we're going to do. But anyways, with all that, I thank everybody for being here tonight, and I hope to see everybody back here tomorrow. Bye.